Okay. Good morning or good afternoon to everybody who has joined our Mooc Hangout session. I'm Mariam, and today I'll be here with you with two of my colleagues, Danielle and Lian. Today, Danielle will explain to us about the assignment 1B. Now you have post-discussions to the previous assignment and pre-discussions for the next assignment. So she will explain how things work here. Then we'll have Lian, who will come to us and explain about the feedbacks for the assignments. I think it's really nice that when you submit something, people from around the world will be reading it and will put their thoughts on it. But there is a catch to that, where Lian will explain that for you. About the team charters, I think all the teams have submitted their team charters, but the team charters should be updated. So Danielle will be talking to you about that one. And then we'll have Lian telling you a little about the discussion forum. So I'll give the floor now to Danielle to explain about the assignments, please.
Yes, just a little bit, because as you've probably seen, we're stepping up the pace a bit. This week you're doing the post-discussion of the first problem and also the pre-discussion of the second PBL problem in this course. That almost reflects what we do in face-to-face sessions here in Maastricht, where students often have the post-discussion in the first hour, then go and grab a cup of coffee and come back and do the pre-discussion for the next one. We've left both of those assignments open until Monday because we've seen that many of you work over the weekend. But please be aware then that you have those two assignments this week. What we've seen in the pre-discussions that you've sent in is that some of the teams have very broad questions or a long list of questions, and I could very well imagine that when you do a post-discussion, you notice that you have found an answer on some of your questions and not on others. And in this course, it's perfectly all right if you decide to take on some of those questions to next week and consider those a bit more. I think that's probably all I would like to say at this moment. We'll come back on Monday and reflect a bit more on the content of your post discussions when we've been able to see them. Back to you, Mariam.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. Lian, would you please explain a little about the feedback procedure that will be happening?
Yes, of course. The deadlines that we set for the assignment in this Mooc are so-called soft deadlines, meaning that you can still hand in your team assignments, your group assignments after the deadlines pass. But as Miriam said, there's a catch to this because for the post-discussion assignments, you will receive and give feedback to and from your peers. But to be able to receive this feedback, you will need to hand in your assignment, your post-discussion at the designated deadline to be included in this feedback loop. So remember, you can hand in your assignments anytime, but if you want feedback on them, on the post-discussions, hand them in at the deadline that we state. For example, the post-discussion that you might be working on now has a deadline of, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 6th of November. And then feedback for this assignment will open on, I think, on the 7th, actually, or on the 6th. And there the Mooc learning environment will also ask you to provide feedback on assignments of the other teams. And usually the feedback takes the shape of a number of questions that you then give can give some comments to. And one of those questions, for example, might be that, do you think that this assignment that you've just read, this post-discussion contains a good discussion of the main elements of PBL? Does it, for example, contain a discussion about the relevance of PBL? And this peer evaluation form also always gives room for other comments that you have on the post discussions of the other teams. But we really do ask you to be constructive in your feedback. So if there's something that you would like to comment on, of course, keep it friendly and give what we call actionable feedback. So provide feedback on things that people can actually change, and do keep in mind that relevance, of course, might not mean the same for all of us. What might be relevant to someone might not be relevant in your context, but interesting nevertheless. So I think for now that's it with regards to feedback on the assignments and the deadlines. Thank you.
Will I continue then? Will I, Mariam? So maybe as a little add-on, the process that Leon was talking about is the more formalized peer review that we organize in the Mooc after all the post discussions. If you want to participate in that, hand in your assignment in time and hand it in through the designated hand-in point. So not at another place, because the NovoEd platform organizes this automatically. Apart from this formal peer review process, you can also inspect any assignments of other teams at all times in the gallery and give your formal or informal comments there. I was going to say a little bit about the team charter, because we know from experience that this is a Mooc. The teams start out relatively big often, and I'm sure that in most of your teams you've seen that some of the people are less active or have dropped out. This might be a good moment to review your team charter and to redistribute the roles based on who's still active and who is not. It's entirely normal if your team has lost some people. This usually happens. What we've also seen is that after 2 or 3 weeks, the teams remain relatively stable, and most of the people that are active now, I would expect, will still be active until the end of the course. Just in case you have noticed that your team has become very, very small and you're uncomfortable because there are not enough people in your team to work on, there's also the possibility for you to merge with another team or to join another team. In that case, I would advise that you contact the other team beforehand and ask them, would they mind if you joined? And if you agree, then you could just leave your current team and go into the new one. This will have no consequences for your certificate of participation, because the system will take the assignments of the new team as yours as well. Is that clear enough? Then back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle. That was very good explanation. Leon, I'd like to ask you to please explain to our viewers the difference between the two environments, the general discussion fora and also the group and team fora that they have, please.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll start out with the team space. As you might have seen by now, this space is only available to and only visible to you and your team members. We as instructors in this access this team space. So also if you have questions that cannot be answered, for example, by the members in your team, or you're looking for opinions from other people that are participating in this Mooc, it would be a good idea to post them on the more general discussion board. And the other way around, this works as well. If there's things that you would want to share with your team, I think this team space discussion part, or so the team space is a very nice option for that, or any other communication tool that you might have chosen, of course. What I liked is that in the discussion board, for example, I saw some people that were sharing interesting sources or tools, people giving some very constructive feedback on what other people have been doing. So I like that there's activity in these boards going on. And for the assignments, I think, yeah, well, you will be doing those in your team space with your group. So as a reminder, these are private to you, and the discussion fora is open for everybody. We have a more general board. We have a board for technical issues. We have a board where quite a few of you introduce themselves. There's still a board that you can use if you wish to change groups. And we also made some specific discussion boards or pages that will open up throughout the Mooc, because they are related to the topic that is opening up that week. So don't be surprised if you see new topics popping up. That's because they are related to the topic that you are working on that week. I think that's it with regards to the discussion boards. Maybe someone else would like to add something to that.
No, just maybe that it's very nice if you tell us something of your experiences and of maybe your questions and your doubts. And I think it's nice for all the participants also to see what you are thinking of, struggling with, happy with. All of that is welcome.
Okay, just to follow on that note that Danielle was saying that you should be sharing things on the discussion board, and we'll be happy to read it. I'm sure everybody else will be happy as well, because then we'll see what is happening with you, and also if that is also another problem for someone else. But if you also have something very interesting that you'd like to share with people or with us as well, you can also join us for the Mooc Hangouts, and if you make an appointment beforehand with us, we'll make sure that we have time for you in the Mooc Hangouts that we are doing, so then we can give you the mic and the floor to share with us maybe a particular tool that you're using that is really helping you in your group, and how you're using it, not just introducing the tool that it is out there, but how you're using it and how it is helping you, the methodology that you're using, or some sort of thing that you've come up with in your group that is really helping you and you really want to share with everybody else, and you think that this might also help other people. We'll be happy to give you the floor to also talk about it. If you make appointments beforehand, that would be better, because then we'll have the time for you. Just email any of us, any of the facilitators in the Mooc, and we'll get back to you with that. Okay, thank you. If anybody else here has anything to say, Danielle, Lian? No? And I see that we have someone who has joined us. If you would like to ask a question or share something, maybe write your question on the chat form that you have on the side, or if you would like to talk with us through your microphone, that will also be fine. No, I don't see a reaction. Nope. Okay. Okay, then we'll hear from you more maybe in other sessions. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. That is all for today. Thank you and bye-bye.